If anything, if I had to describe Gothic to someone who's never seen Gothic, I would describe it as text language combined with entry-level English.
Hello, and welcome to The Meat Hall. Grab a drink and join us on this quest for scandal, comical analysis, and hilarity. If you're not old enough to grab a drink, or close to it, this podcast probably isn't for you. Come back in a little while.
And if you haven't listened to the first episode of the podcast, you should probably go do that. Go do that, and then we'll wait here, and then you can listen to this.
Hey Internet, my name is Joey, the resident musical douche, and I've played over 1,000 hours of D&D.
I'm Seth, and I pre-ordered the collector's edition of Cyberpunk 2077.
I'm Ian, and I've seen every Star Wars movie twice. This is the Friction Podcast, and today we're looking at Tara Gilesbie's landmark fan fiction, My Immortal.
Part 2!
Yeah.
Because the 2s are most usually the number 2, and the 4's number 4. That's a common thread I've noticed in most of Gothic text. But again, what's so elusive about the Gothic language is that a lot of words can be interchanged, like 2 and 2 and 4 and 4. And it feels almost, it feels like someone's making it up as they go, but that's just me.
Yeah.
Which, that's my prevailing theory.
Yeah.
Well, one of the common threads, one of the most important threads, is that you have to use satanic and otherwise Gothic vampire imagery, right?
Mm-hmm.
You don't say, oh my God, you say, oh my Satan.
I'm gonna say,
Because God's a prep. Get it?
Wait, Ian and I are big fans of BoJack Horseman and his "Did you get my reference?" humor. Did they steal that from Tara?
I think so.
Gilesbie?
No, because I don't think she's doing it for humor purposes. I think that she's just making sure that we understand that she's a goth, not a prep.
Okay, interesting.
Over and over and over again.
Ties into our later idea when it comes to. We'll get to that later. That's interesting. Okay.
Right.
So
next,
Dumbledore crashes.
we'll skip ahead. Yeah, skip ahead to chapter 7. Right, the next time that happens.
Okay, thank God.
Right.
It sounds like a lot. It's not. It's a lot of clothes. It's
Right.
a lot of describing clothes.
It's a
Yeah,
lot of
we're
describing
about-
clothes. It speeds up. She meets Harry Potter, Mr. Vampire. Oh God, I got rid of the screen for a second. She meets Harry Potter of the vampire. This is his name because
Okay, so
Like
this is the
Blood, we
first time we
mentioned
meet
that.
Vampire?
chapter 6.
Okay.
First time we meet vampire.
Got it.
Not a real
This is the-
vampire, but vampire.
Not a
Right.
real vampire. That's important.
So in chapter 7, Draco and Raven have sex again. Oh Draco ice cream while getting an orgasm. There it is again. When all of a sudden I saw a tattoo I'd never seen before on Draco's arm. It was a black heart with an arrow through it. On it, in bloody Gothic writing, were the words "vampire." They were thing.
Oh my god.
He's got the mom tattoo, but it's of Harry Potter.
It's his ex-boyfriend's name.
Yeah.
Or
Also,
it could just be any
She's gotten that
vampire.
blacked
but
in.
whatever.
the words vampire is one word, and it's already
Yes, were
in
the
Gothic,
words
so this makes
plural.
no sense.
Vampire. I was not even that focused the first time I read that I didn't even notice. I just kept going
Mhm.
because I don't think I had enough brain capacity.
Yeah, you have to sometimes. in this. Well, I mean, you're reading it in a totally
Right.
new language,
And of course,
so
yeah.
sometimes you can't translate and comprehend
Right.
at the same time.
And-
It's very difficult.
I'll say I think the author wants you to kind of zone out a bit because I don't know about you guys. After the 5th clothes change, I was out.
Yeah.
This happens again and again.
Yeah.
A lot of MCR, a lot of Charlotte.
Right. So then she figures that out. She goes to Harry Potter to puts her clothes on. Draco's still naked. She runs after Vampire in his class with Snape. Potions, I believe, is what it was. So obviously she goes in there. She starts yelling at him, and then Draco comes in after her, buck naked.
Yeah.
Buck.
He has a
naked.
big you know what.
He has a big you know what, but she was too mad to care.
Mm-hmm.
Damn.
She was just too mad to care. She stomped out until
Do I
she was
know
in Vampir's
what?
classroom.
What do you guys think she means? I mean, it's his Mondo elephant cock, right? We're
Yeah,
not.
Yeah.
Okay. Just
Service member.
it wasn't his nose.
Mamba Mondo.
Bomba Mondo.
So,
Before we move
right.
on,
Yeah.
guys, we need to cancel Tara Gilesbie.
What'd she do?
Because when she found out that he has sex with men, as an insult, she shouted, "You probably have AIDS anyway."
Yeah, that also
So
does
she just
well as the Marilyn Manson.
It's fine. No, it's fine. We don't have to cancel Tara. We just have to cancel Ebony. Obviously.
what is it about people who write Harry Potter that makes them so horrible?
I don't know.
I don't know. That was insane.
It must
Also,
be the content.
I like to point out again, this is a somewhat older story, middle to late 2000s.
Mhm.
I feel like she's already been canceled. I feel like she's been flommed a lot.
She has been flommed a
So
lot.
I feel like we're walking in onto an ancient battlefield. You know, we're looking at the scars in the ground.
Right. You're right. It's like saying, hey guys, I think
You're
that
archaeologists.
they should defeat Napoleon at the Battle of Waterloo. You're right.
Yes.
You're right.
The point of why does writing Harry Potter corrupt you brings me to the next point, right? You know, they have this whole thing,
Awesome.
and like she starts to get over like, okay, they were in a relationship before, but it's okay. I like both of them, but like I'm only dating one of them right now, so that's it for now. But then we meet Hermione Smith, which was Granger, Hermione Granger, the character in the book. She just changed it to Hermione Smith for some reason, and also made her a Satanist and a Slytherin.
And
So
they changed her name.
That was my note. Hermione Smith, Granger, Satanist, and Slytherin now. Bold choice. That was my whole note.
Very choice. You know what else she's also referred to as? She's Hermione Smith, but she's also Bloody Mary.
Yeah, that reminded me of my favorite internet joke about J.K. Rowling, which is, well, you know, Hermione, she's really black, and she's really in a wheelchair the whole time.
Yeah.
Hermione's in a wheelchair the whole time.
That's my favorite internet joke.
Yeah.
Because
yes.
J.K. Rowling's insane.
She is.
And she just keeps changing things. I'm like, dude,
stick with it.
pump the brakes. All right.
Yeah.
Right.
Put
Also,
author's notes. Re-release this with your author's notes.
There's notes.
yeah.
Do it like you should.
Author's notes is fine. You know, you can limit snicket it. You know, that's fine.
Yeah.
Whatever. You know.
I think she could Tara Gilesbie it. Let's be honest.
Right. So then we get into, and I'll just read this whole thing. My favorite excerpt from all that I read. Right. Voldemort's first appearance. Talked about this a little bit already.
Okay.
And it goes. Then all of a suddenly, an horrible man with red eyes and no nose and everything started flying towards me on a broomstick. He didn't have a nose, basically like Voldemort in the movie. That's in quotations. And he was wearing all black, but it was obvious he wasn't gothic. It was Voldemort. Like what? So
You already spoiled
it's
it.
just Voldemort. You could have just said it's Voldemort. You don't have to explain that it's basically Voldemort in the movie. That's what literally every other character is.
Yes, and can I say, that reminds me, the first time we meet Harry Potter as vampire, she does a similar thing where she's like, I see a guy, he has black hair with red tips, but he doesn't have a scar anymore, and his name isn't Harry anymore. It was Harry Potter, known as Vampire. It's like, we didn't know he had a scar before you told us that.
Right.
Sometimes it's a pentagram. My friend changed it to a pentagram. What a nerd.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
So she goes, "No!" I shouted in a scared voice, but then Voldemort shouted, "Imperious!" and I couldn't run away. "Crookshanks!" I shouted at him. Voldemort fell off his broom and started to scream. It's like,
what?
do you like break his hip or something? Do you need life alert?
Yes, and for the
You know?
also, we should say about Harry Potter knowledge between the three of us.
None. Zero. Very little.
Joey has seen a Harry Potter musical
Yes.
multiple times. I have read the books. I've seen all the movies. And Ian lives and breathes Harry Potter 24/7.
I've read the books like 3 times.
I
I've seen the
have
movies
read
several times.
I've read the first 2 books and the first quarter of the 3rd book, and I've seen the 2 movies, first 2 movies, and the first quarter of the 3rd movie. So I've gotten to the same point, both through both mediums.
So I'd like to point out then that the Crookshanks spell is very weird then for Anne and I, because Crookshanks is the name of a cat.
Right.
So did she mean to say the Crucio curse?
I think so.
Really mean Crookshanks. That's a really weird.
See, maybe that's why he wasn't hurt, because she yelled Crookshanks, so that means he fell off his broom, but he landed on his feet.
That's good.
Like a cat.
Maybe.
But then what did
Genius.
she stop? Because the next sentence is, I felt bad for him, even though I'm a sadist, so I stopped, which not possible, but okay.
I feel bad for him.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm not sure.
I feel like
he's screaming, but then immediately he gets up and he says, "Ebony," he yelled, "thou must kill Vampire Potter." I thought about Vampire and his sexa eyes, and his gothic black hair, and how his face looks just like Joel Madden. The football player? No, that's Joe Madden.
Yeah.
Bro, don't be such a prep right now.
Yeah, don't be a prep. You
Take a lap with that preppy shit, my man.
I remember that Draco said
Football.
I didn't understand. So I thought,
No.
what if Draco went out with Vampire before I went out with him and they broke up? No, Voldemort, I shouted back. Voldemort gave me a gun. He gave her a gun. He literally casted 2 spells on her, and then he just whips out this deagle, you know, this golden eagle, desert eagle. That's what it is, desert eagle. God, I'm brain dead. What's out this desert eagle for? And he's like, "Yo, kill Vampire, you know?
Kill
That's what you should
Vampire
do."
is gun. And
He's like,
disclaimer, that's not the only gun.
It's
Nope.
not.
And
Nope.
hey, let's be honest. The Wizarding World is with normal world, so we know wizards know about guns, but also wizards have spells and wands. So
Yeah, I thought that was the whole point of not like that's why they don't have guns because they have the wands and they don't need it.
yeah,
But isn't she kind of following the Michael Scott rule of how do you make any situation just that much more intense? You pull out a gun, right?
I guess
So
Right.
she just does that. She takes it to the height.
Right. So
There's a
Voldemort-
gun now. Everybody's all freaked out. Never mind the killing sticks that they already all have and carry and can harm each other with.
Yeah.
Now there's a gun.
You know what? There's the rule of the Chekhov's gun, which
Yep.
those who don't know, it's if you introduce something in Act 1, bring it back to Act 3. I feel like we should have a phrase now for the Gilesbie gun, which is
she introduces it in Act 1, and then
brings it back,
brings it back
And
in
back
Act
and back
1,
and back.
and then in Act 2, and then in Act 2, and then in Act 2, and then in Act 3, and then in Act 3,
Yeah.
Act 3.
All
Yes.
right.
Right.
Somebody make a note of that. The Gilesbie gun. All right.
Right.
Gilesbie's gun.
Voldemort gave her gun. "No, please," I begged. "Thou must," he yelled. "If thou does not," I don't know why he's a medieval knight. "If thou does
So-
not, then I shall kill thy beloved Draco." "How did you know?" I asked in a surprised way. And Voldemort was like, "Yo, I saw him dicking you down in the car in the Forbidden Forest. It's where I lived. I was sucking on those unicorn blood."
Was that you or the
that,
story?
No, that's
That's
not the story
him,
at all.
that's
That's
him.
me
You know
assuming.
why I knew that was you? Because that was way cleverer.
Oh man.
No, of course. The real answer. Voldemort got a "dude, you're so retarded" look on his face. Excuse my pardon my French.
Yeah, it's not PC anymore, but
no-
it was
no.
2008.
2008,
2008.
you know, it was common for some reason. "I hath telekinesis," he answered cruelly. "And if you doth not kill Vampire, then thou know what will happen to Draco," he shouted. And he flew away angrily on his broomstick.
I have telekinesis.
So he's a medieval witch knight with
Mhm.
no nose, red
Yep.
bloodshot eyes.
Yep.
Basically like Voldemort in the movies.
Yeah.
Basically. Exactly.
Can I point out that those who haven't read this fic, as it is known, might pick up on the fact that it's not very consistent, but Voldemort or Voldemort is always speaking like that
Mhm.
in every scene he's in, which you kind of have to applaud because you know that she was trying. Like,
Yeah.
this dude talks like this, deal with it. Like in every scene he's in, that's the only consistency. Even Vampire is called Harry at the end by accident.
Yeah.
That's the only thing that's consistent. Voldemort talks like a Shakespearean telekinetic.
Yeah, I wanted to say in my head it's an iambic pentameter. I don't know if you guys feel the same way, but it's on like that's the way it's going.
That was definitely the intent.
"And if you doth not kill Vampire, then thou know what will happen to Draco."
It almost fits. It's
It
close.
does.
Draco.
We can't falter. Meter's hard to do.
The
It takes a
last
lot.
the last bit is Italian. To Draco.
It's almost more powerful that she gave up. The meter part.
It is.
It's too hard. I'm gonna do what I want. You know?
Exactly. She recognized it's her world. She makes the rules. Do it up. Voldemort sometimes is an iambic pentameter. Sometimes he's not.
Mm.
It just happens. Deal with it. If you flame, you're a prep, man. If you flame,
you're a prep.
you're a prep.
Right.
Okay, so,
yeah.
she's given a gun.
Yeah, that's apparently she keeps it because he just writes off. Don't know. I haven't read that much yet. She hasn't used it yet,
Mhm.
as far as I've gone. Then we get a little later. I'm almost done. We get to chapter 10. The one critique that I saw that I was like, wait, really? This author? So she got to the point where she had this whole paragraph explaining how she's scared about Voldemort and blah 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 and what she's doing in the day, and then she said she knew Draco was probably slitting his wrists, but he wouldn't die because he's a vampire too, and the only way you can kill a vampire is with a CROSS. She spells it out with hyphens, and it says, "There's no way I'm writing that."
Yeah.
Huh? You just did. You just did. What?
There's no way I'm going to write the word CROSS.
Well, that's just a
What?
particular of Gothic. She's a vampire.
Yeah.
She's goth. She can't write cross. It would hurt her hand, but she can spell it out.
Right, it'll burn her.
Hyphens
Yeah.
are saving her life.
Right.
Yes.
But then also, of course, also with the CROSS, a steak, STEAK. So of course, I got this mental image of like the movie productions. You know, Draco's upset that he doesn't get his way, and like, oh, Harry Potter's the chosen one, and like, oh, I'm kind of the sucky one later. And it's like in the 5th book, and he's like, I just can't take it anymore. And he like grabs like a tenderloin and just like keeps slapping his chest over and over and over again. Why won't it work?
Oh,
And a steak. Get some heartburn.
Yeah, it's just, he
that's
he
it.
died of heartburn that day.
Yep. And a steak. A cross
And
and,
then,
a steak.
Then of course I got
So wait,
confused.
is that
confused by Snape. It said Snap.
snap?
It said Snap multiple
No,
times, and I was like,
Snap.
"Who is Snap? Who is Snap?" Like, then like 2 paragraphs later, it was like Snape. I was like, "Oh, there's just no E."
I would like to propose a new frame as well called the Gilesbie cross and steak, where you introduce something and then never bring it back, because that never comes up again.
Does it not?
Nope. No vampire, unless I'm wrong, Ian. No vampire dies from a cross or a steak.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
I don't think any of the vampires die in this.
Well, why would they? They're the
Well,
main
that's
characters.
the cliffhanger
Yeah.
I left off. My 2 last notes are: is Dumbledore an alcoholic? He always has a headache for no reason. That was number 1.
Uh-huh.
Like I was like, is he just an alcoholic? Like, is that what it is? He has his emotional days.
Emotional days.
Yeah. Like
He
I don't
might
know.
be.
I don't know if you guys read more. So if it's like elaborates on that, if it says explicitly, I don't know.
Well, you know what, Joey,
Nope.
you might be onto something. It doesn't say he's an alcoholic, but at one point in the story, Dumbledore tries to become a goth, but he's too much of a prep, and they call him a poser. So what if Dumbledore is really depressed and he's trying to fit in with everyone?
He's just sad that he's
starts
not a
off with
goth.
headache, but he tries. He paints the Great Hall black, but not.
He
some parts
does.
of it. Some parts.
But
of
isn't it a trick, right? He's like tricking them, or he's too much of a poser.
And I was too lost.
I don't know. I think it's just a classic Gilesbie cross and steak.
Classic Gilesbie
So then when I left off was Draco's cliffhanger, right? He goes in like chapter 12, and then allegedly he just died from slitting his wrists, which he already said he can't die from that way. So it's like, what happened? You know,
He committed suicide.
Yeah.
Killing his
cliffhanger.
wrists.
Quit suicide by a way
Right.
that he can't commit
Right.
suicide. Interesting, but then also the Hagrid thing.
Oh, the
talked
Hagrid
about.
thing.
That was one of the last
Oh,
things I read. That's chapter 13, 12, 14, something in there. It is chapter. Is that no? It's chapter 11, where Hagrid's like talking to her, and she's like sad that he just committed suicide, and she's like kind of all over the place. But then they were taking pictures of her, Snape, and the other one that I don't remember his name. Taking pictures of Ebony. I keep saying Raven and Ebony intertwined, but that's the same character. They were taking pictures of her, and then she got upset. But then Hagrid was like getting at them, and then says like because he loves her, and then the immediate author's note is like, well, yeah, he's a pedophile. Deal with it. I was like, I don't really think you can get away with that one. I don't think you can get away with that one. Yeah, that was kind of the last thing I read.
okay.
I was wondering what happens next. I don't know.
Well,
Yeah.
I'll tell you what happens next.
I'm not sure if I want to know.
Before we move on,
Yeah.
did you do chapter 16? Because there's a note I had for chapter 16.
I have
No,
not.
I was going to because we split up these sections like this, And I was going to focus on the switch from the first half to the second half, but I really wanted to bring up the MCR band, the MCR concert issue. Did you catch that, Ian? Okay, because you said chapter 16, right?
Yeah.
What'd you have to talk about in chapter 16?
So it's where I think it's chapter 16 when she gets angry at Raven. So she gets Bloody Mary was standing there. Hajimashite, girl. She said happily, which that's spelled correctly. And it's not English or Gothic. I'm impressed. Anyway, she said happily. She specs Japanese, so do I. That means how do you do in Japanese? BTW, Willow, that fucking poser, got expelled. She failed all her classes and she skipped math. Author's note, Raven, you fucking suck. Fuck you.
Whoa, really? Raven?
This
Yeah.
back and
Raven-
forth between the author and the editor, man.
Yeah, there's just this like really like, hey, fuck you.
Maybe it's why the characters have so much tension in the story.
Yeah. I just thought it was interesting because it really like confronts you with the fact that you're reading a created collaborative work. Like you can't like, you know, when you're like reading something, you can sort of allow yourself to like fold yourself into the story, right? And you're not really thinking about the fact that it's like a book, it's something that someone wrote. But then like moments like this here in My Immortal, like you have to know that it's something someone wrote because of the author's notes. Like why would Willow get expelled? Why this anger? You have to know that Willow, you know, from Raven disses you from chapter 1. You know?
There's two stories being told here. One is in the Wizarding World, one is in ours.
That's a good way. Yeah, I like that. I like that. It's a really good way to say that.
Yeah.
I think so.
The
author is a self-insert in the Harry Potter world, and she's in our hearts. She's self-inserted my heart. Oh, I don't know if I like that one.
Oh man, that's important to note. Sorry, I'm reading something. The point about the drama unfolding in the author's notes. Most books, when you read it, it's sort of a singular story, unless you read the foreword by the author or some sort of note by the editor. It's very you in the book, you in the story. But this, you're on this journey with Tara. She's holding your hand, yanking you along. I mean, but still, it's a rather interesting way to consume literature. Having the author like holding your hand like this is very interesting.
I agree. I fully, it's something that's so special about a medium like this, I think.
Yeah, and you get to feel like a pervert every time there's a sex scene.
I mean, I guess.
You're with someone. So to jump back into the text part, this is not part of my section, but I couldn't find the two iterations I'm thinking of. But the beginning of chapter 16, oh my gosh, I guess I'll read all of this. We ran happily to Hogsmeade because they're going to an MCR concert. Mm-hmm. There we saw the stage where GC had played. We ran in happily. MCR were there playing Helena. I was so effing happy. Gerard looked even sexier than he did in the pictures. Even Draco thought so. I could totally see him getting an erection. But it didn't matter because I knew that we were the only true ones for each other. That's one word. I was wearing a black leather mini. Okay, I'm gonna skip the clothes. Anyway,
drink. Everybody drink at home. You gotta drink if you can drink.
That anyway was in the text. So the author knows. Anyway, done with the clothes. We started moshing to Helena. We Frenched. We ran up to the front of the band to stage dive. Suddenly, Gerard pulled off his mask. So did the others. We gasped. It was them. At all. It wasn't them at all. It was lot of ellipses. Voldemort and the Death Dealers. So
the Death Dealers.
The Death Dealers. Voldemort and the Death Dealers. So what's even weirder about this, guys, and I'm really struggling to find it, that's not the first time this happens. Earlier, before this, they go to an MCR concert, and it ends with Voldemort taking off the Gerard mask. And it says, it's Voldemort. Next chapter, she wakes up, puts on clothes. Goes back to concert, and it happens again. So I'm worried. I think what happened is that she forgot a whole scene she wrote and went back and did it. Do you guys see what I mean?
Yes.
I
can't find it.
Or this character shouldn't go to concerts anymore.
Shouldn't.
Because she has this whole moment in this first concert scene here, or in the concert scene in chapter 16, where she's like, what the fuck, Draco? I'm not going to go to a concert with you. I shouted angrily. Good to know how she shouted. Not after what happened to me last time. Even if it's MCR, you know how much I lick them.
MCR.
What? Because he gadgeted uncomfortably because guys don't like to talk about what. Yeah, because I yelled in an angry voice. Sex. Which is just a lie.
Yeah,
I've never met
I thought that was
someone...
the one thing that they do talk about.
being
Ebony. One and being around them. I don't know where I'm going with this. Someone take over for me. I'm drowning over here.
Do that again. Draco promised.
I found it a little. I have to go down a little bit, I think, because this is where things get weird. So,
this is
chapter 16 where things get weird. Voldemort and the Death Dealers. That's the last thing I read. WTF, Draco? I'm not going to. That's it. This is the weird part. So that paragraph's the beginning of chapter 16. Sorry, I'm getting really anxious. So it's with mask. Oh my gosh, it's Voldemort and the Death Dealers. Next paragraph. WTF, Draco? I'm not going to concert with you. I shouted angrily. Not after what happened to me last time. Even if it's MCR, you know how much I lick them. What? Because he gadgeted comfortably. Because you guys just read this.
Yeah. I was like, is he going to figure that out?
I'm going down because then later she says Bloody Mary was standing there. Hajimashite girl. And then it says, it serves you right, you effing B word. I laughed angrily because Willow gets killed. You read all this. But then Kawaii, I confront happily. We talk to each other. Silence the rest of the movie. Oh, hey, BTW, I'm going to a concert with Draco tonight in Hogsmeade with MCR. This is all the same chapter. So she teased the Voldemort reveal and then immediately after teasing went back. No, there were no warning. There's no break. There's no symbol. There's a paragraph.
Right.
A paragraph change. What's your opinion on this?
I think it's a flashback.
You think it's a flashback?
Yeah, she shows us the scene. Hey, this is something bad that happens. Flashback.
Yeah, because it's weird. Because then after that, she goes into full detail about how she's going to shop for it. Because then she meets Tom Riddle, who's not Voldemort, I guess.
Right. That's so weird. He's never... I kept being like, oh, okay, that's going to be a little... Tom Riddle's going to come out and be Voldemort the whole time. But it never... It's just another classic Gilesbie cross and steak, I guess.
So Tom Riddle gave us some clothes and stuff for free. He said we would help us with the makeup if he wanted because he was really into fashion and stuff. He's bisexual. Oh my gosh. And also, I'm trying to cover some things I didn't cover in my notes, which is the fact that the Hagrid thing is when Hagrid falls in love with Ray.
Yeah.
Right. I meant Ebony. But he's also in Slytherin and he's also their age.
I totally didn't get that at all. He's in Slytherin and their age.
She says in 2 seconds. I can't even find it for you. It's so bad. And why? And the answer is because she's a Mary Sue. And a Mary Sue is a term that started in fanfiction because it's a female character that has no weakness. It's less gendered now.
Wait.
Definitely Mary Sue.
But no, she's not. She's depressed, bro. And she's a Satanist.
She is depressed. I'm sorry.
Did you not read the exact author's note that says she's not a Mary Sue?
I should have thought before speaking. Okay. The story so far, again, going to our synopsis. Voldemort says kill Harry. She doesn't. She then meets him again at the concert. This is later. And I want you to know, this paragraph starts off with, I open my crimson eyes, which again, they're not crimson. Joey pointed out, they're icy blue. So eyes change.
Like first line of story.
Now I'm going to skip through the pajamas she's wearing and then the clothes she put on. Her friend's there. She was wearing a ripped gothic, darkness, also known as Jenny in the original text. She was wearing a ripped gothic black dress with ripped stuff all over it and a lace-up top thing and black pointy boots. Okay, this is an important part. So were Crabbe and Goyle. It turns out that Darkness, Diablo, Crabbe, and Goyle's dad, which means Darkness is Jenny. So it's Jenny, Diablo is Ron. She says that earlier. So Jenny, Ron, Crabbe, and Goyle's dad was a vampire. He committed suicide by slitting his wrist with a razor. He had raped them and stuff before too. They all got depressed. They become gothic and converted to Satanism. The reason I wrote this down is because, again, this is not the first time this happens. Every time they choose a character, their dad is always a vampire, and he always abused them, and they all became Satanists. It happens to Harry, I think. It happened to Hagrid. Every time she chooses a character, it's always their family were vampires. Is it lazy or brilliant?
I think Tara's dad abused her, and I think this is her way of processing that.
Well, that's sad. That's really sad. Didn't mean for that to happen. I'm sorry, Tara, if that really happened.
Adult content. Real stuff.
Yeah.
My other note. So then what happens, that's the
She
introduction of
wishes
Goyle.
because it's like part of this culture. I can't tell if she's is a poser in the context of this culture or not.
Yeah. So
Like, is she trying to like establish herself? Like, oh, I'm a sadist, but clearly she's not. If she felt bad for causing pain,
yeah.
is this all stuff that she like wish she was a part of, but rather is not?
Yes. And then I also like to point out something that we haven't covered yet. So I just bought some black eyeliner, black lipstick, and red eyeshadow and white foundation. Then I came. We all went outside to the Great Hall and looked out a window. An effing prep called Brittany from Gryffindor was staying next to us. Again, the only Gryffindor we ever get a name for. So I think she's the only one. She was wearing a pink mini and a Hillary Duff t-shirt. So we put up our middle fingers at her. So what was important here, again, not the first time this happens. Every time they see a prep, they put their middle fingers at people. And I'm confused. Because why don't you just say you flipped them off? Why does she have to say we put our middle fingers at them like this?
Oh, did it say
all the
they put up their middle fingers at them, or did it say
They
they
put
pointed
up-
their middle fingers at them?
They put up their middle fingers.
Because I was thinking like, nah, nah, nah.
Oh,
middle fingers
yeah,
at it.
yeah.
And it's not the first time. Every time she sees someone wearing pink, I put up my middle finger at her. And is this a gothic culture thing I don't understand, where you don't say flipped off?
Maybe,
Or
maybe it's
bird.
biting your thumb at somebody. Maybe it's like that. You know,
Ah,
it's a Shakespearean.
Again, we're going back to
Going back to
Shakespeare.
the iambic pentameter thing. You know.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
I almost said Voldemort.
Yeah, and then next paragraph. Inside the Great Hall, we could see Dumbledore. Cornelia Fudge was there, shouting at Dumbledore.
What a
Doris
dork.
Rumbridge was there too. And then, this cannot be, she shouted angrily. The school must be closed. Cornelius Fudge says the Bark Lord is planning to kill the students.
The Bark Lord.
I wrote that down because of the funny typo, but also, is he? Because his plan so far is to kill. Well, I gotta mute myself. Cut this out.
And now a word from our sponsors.
Hi, this is the people of the Triple Glasses podcast. We're only 3 dudes, and it's literally only us, and we're just talking about random shit. That's what we do. That's the whole point. We did it in our normal gaming circle, you know, just the 3 of us again. But we did it then, so we figured, why not just record it and enjoy it later, and other people could enjoy it too. So from us and our family here at the Mead Hall, to you, the wonderful listener, thanks for listening, and please watch more so that we can actually get something out of this. Amen.
Nice. Amen.
Okay,
And we're
I'm gonna
back.
jump back in. Okay. Okay.
Oh man, that was a weird cut.
The Bark Lord is planning to kill the students, yelled Cornelia Fudge. Again, not Cornelius, it's Cornelia now. And I wrote down this because of the funny typo, but also, is he? Because all he's planning to do is kill Harry, right? That's all
Right.
we know. So where's he getting this information? He's planning to kill a student, for sure.
Well, you see. Here's my theory, right? Having no knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
Vampire, right? Harry the Potter vampire.
Yeah.
Right? Coolest kid at school, obviously. The whole book's about him, you know? The whole series is about him.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So if you get rid of him, you get rid of all the school's morality. Kids don't want to go to school there anymore. They don't have enough
Okay.
tuition. School crumbles from lack of infrastructure.
Ooh.
That's a good theory for the book. But
know?
you have to remember, this Harry Potter is in Slytherin, and he's a goth, and his name is Vampire.
He's still the
Exactly, that
emotional
should be
heart of
even
Hogwarts.
Cooler.
I guess so.
Yeah, now he's cool as
Obviously.
well.
I'm
You're right.
totally not being
You're right.
sarcastic
Sorry,
whatsoever.
I'm a prep. I was being a prep there. Sorry.
Yeah, dude, quit flaming, bro. You're such a prep.
Quit flaming.
Quit flaming, man. The
So
Bark Lord.
the Bark Lord really hit me. But then we go to the end of this half, because whoever wrote this website or made this website cut the fanfic in half. So you're not fit to be the principal any longer, yelled Rumbridge. I love it because he's not principal. That's very English. That's very American. Whatever.
Yeah.
You are too old, and your Alzheimer's is dangerous. You must retry, or Voldemort will kill your students. Very well, Dumbledore said angrily. But, B-U-T-T, we cannot do this. We can't close the school. There's only one person who's capable of killing Voldemort, and she is in the school. And her name is Inani Darkness Dementia Ravenway.
That's a
And
different
then-
name.
Yes, it is. The very last.
That's a different name.
the
Also,
very last
wait.
paragraph.
Did this person insert themselves into changing Neville Longbottom into a female, an angsty female? Is he in this? Is he in
I mean-
this story?
He actually comes in later.
Okay.
Or that was your theory. He comes in later. I forgot
Okay.
his name. It's something dark. But this, you know what? They could be. This could
Devil
easily-
Dark Bottom.
This could easily be rewritten as Ebony is Neville. I could see that. Because
Yeah.
I'm not introduced. And what if Neville was like the main character and a girl and goth? The
Wait,
last
where's
part-
that coming from? Like that we think it's Neville.
Well,
there's
in the book, I feel like there's the very prevailing fan theory that that Neville Longbottom could have also been the chosen one.
Yeah, it's also not a fan theory. If you read the book,
Yeah,
Is
it's,
it?
because the
it's
prop.
yeah.
I
it's
don't
really
know.
weird,
I
though.
heard about it so many years ago before the last book had come out.
It's bad writing because there's a prophecy that gets introduced later. The whole reason that Harry Potter didn't die from Voldemort is because he was a baby born on this date. But Neville was also born on that date.
Right.
So Voldemort went after Harry instead of Neville. So if he went after Neville, then Neville could have been the chosen one who didn't die. It's
Cool.
I don't know.
Sure.
I read that part in the book and I was like, okay. But so the last two lines of this half are Draco, Crab, Goyle, Darkness, Willow, Vampire, and Bloody Mary looked at each other. ... I gasped. Which I feel like is such a powerful way to end the half because the I gasped thing is such a through line in all this fanfic. All Dementia does is put on clothes, make out with Draco, and gasp. That's like the three things she does. Three biggest
Yeah.
things. So I love that ending.
You know,
And now we're gonna go to the other half.
yeah. With that, I think, based on the amount of time we have, this may be one of two parts of
Yeah.
My Immortal, the first episode of Friction Podcast.
Hell yeah, then. We also didn't. We spent a lot of time talking about the intro. We're gonna say we did not cover the outro at all.
It's true, but
I think we could just do it live.
yeah,
We're doing it
do
live.
We're doing it
Yeah,
live.
we'll
If
figure it out.
you-
Say this is Friction, and then start
Yeah.
the music.
This is the Friction Podcast. If you enjoyed, the next episode, the next episode should come out
Joe, you
soon.
ruined it. Joe, you ruined it.
I'll
The
cut it
whole
out.
podcast is ruined. The episode's ruined now. At the very end.
Damn it!
Shit!
When Joe, that's the
Shit!
finish
Once
line.
more from the top, boys.
Damn
All
it!
right.
Wow, if you couldn't tell, this outro isn't live. The editor told me I needed to make a better one. So, to those of you listening, please check out our YouTube channels. If you're on Spotify, make sure to give the podcast a follow and give us a good rating. And if you're on YouTube, be sure to like the video and subscribe to the Meat Hall channel. Friction Podcast will be posted every Thursday morning. Come back to get your weekly dose of... What does this say? Frictionly? What does that mean? Who wrote this?
Stacy's mom has got it going on. She's all I want.
8675309.
Small
Oh
podcast.
God, too hot,
Uh,
too sexy for my shirt.
That's funny.
All right.
These wounds don't seem to
Makes me
heal. This pain
nervous.
is just too real. You know what song that is? My Immortal.
I'm not.
By
I'm not
Evanescence.
used to reading things.
We did it. I'm proud of us. First intro out of the way.
all right, guys.
I'm
It's
absolutely, I'm absolutely taking that and I'm putting it at the very end of the podcast.
yeah, for sure. Okay, My Immortal.
We're desperate. It's the first episode. I'm
Oh,
old.
man.
I'm old now.